Hello. I think we're already live, huh? I think so. I think we went live already, yeah. Um, all right, so this is just a quick video here, just to cover a couple of different things. I was going to do a video earlier on, but I decided to let this Ripple date play out a little bit more, just to keep an eye on things and see how things developed. So this presentation is volume 2 of the newsletter. We're going to review the Ripple date of April 9th, 2019. Just go over a couple of things, and also the upcoming Ripple of April 20th. And I'm also going to give out the next Ripple date as well, April 28th. Of course, this is presented today on Friday. So just before we start, obviously Monday, April 15th was the Notre Dame fire. Strange thing, especially when it's an oak roof. But anyway, and then Tuesday, April 16th, you had Saul Pass, or Pass, whatever you want to call it. A person that's meant to be 18 years old. Somehow, I don't think so. Like a Laura Loomer, huh? But of course, then Wednesday, April 17th, the aspiring Loomer didn't make it. And of course, then Thursday, April 18th, the Mueller report, waste of time and of the good American people. Anybody with half a brain cell, with any intelligence at all, could have seen this for what it is, just a complete another farce. That's all it is, just a farce, man. And it's interesting because that is the term that's connected with electric magnetic pulses from a nemesis binary star, because you have electric magnetic pulses changing the flow of energy from above the planet of your Earth and seeping down through and having more and more impact on the neurocortex of people. And one of those things can be I won't get into it too much, but anyway. And then of course on Friday you have space weather coming out with this crazy anomaly now. Sprites. Did you ever hear the like of it? Sprites popping up. And what they're not telling the people is that these are electric high energy particles that are starting to interact with the ionosphere. And to understand some of the things that will begin to happen to certain planes, aircraft, if you will, like airplanes, and these are public air. Some of them are not really. They're kind of like those little planes that fly out of those tiny little airports. To understand more about that phenomenon is to study the Bermuda Triangle and what actually happens due to the magnetism that flows there. And the anomalies that have happened. So that's just a couple of days. I will be getting the member site up off the ground. I'm just putting various information inside there, so when people become members, they'll get more information that I can release there. And it will be those that are called to this information that will seek it out and find it. But I haven't really pushed the member stuff a lot yet. I'm just working out all the all the code and how I wanted the flow and all that kind of stuff and how it's going to be put together. So I'll have more information on that shortly. So and again on Friday you have this diagram put out by Space Weather talking about sprites now, sprites above storms and all this kind of stuff. And of course, you know, they try out diagrams, they try out some verbiage, some words, and they string together some sentences and they call them complete sentences, and they throw in some vowels, some consonants, some verbs, some nouns, and they call it a sentence and they call it a paragraph, and that's how things are. I don't think so. So again, if you haven't watched the first video about it was April 6th, 2019 that I did it, and I explained that the sun, I actually explained this a couple of years ago. I explained that eventually they're going to have to come out and start saying that the sun is going into solar minimum way before it's meant to. You know, I mean, they projected out to like 22, 23, 20, 22, 23, and as you can see, they're way off. Their math, their science is all over the shop now. And there's a reason for this, is because a lot of these astrophysicists and all these people, they're gonna get a shock. And a lot of people are focused on the binary star system, which is obviously Nemesis, which gets closer and swings around with 7 satellites or celestial bodies or planets, whatever you want to call them. There's 2 of those planets that are not what's called planets. They're comet planets, and they're erratic. They don't act in the same motion that scientists and astrophysicists are used to. They act on a very different plane, and this is why they're going to be cut out. Of course, they try to, like, you know, make this easier with HARP and, you know, the sky sprayers and all that kind of stuff, and trying to keep the magnetosphere in shape and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, given the greenhouse gas effects and the global warming and that insane person now, I don't know what's her name, the Congress girl in America there, that's like climate change in 12 years. It's just bananas, man. People just need to watch the weather and see the changes and study the jet streams and see how it's all changing. This is all interactive flow with electromagnetic pulses like magnets. If you get 2 magnets and you obviously have north, both magnets hit north and you push them together, they're going to repel, right? Same thing, you have 2 magnets that are south, they're going to repel. It's the same kind of dynamics you're dealing with. This is part of the solar system, your current solar system. This solar system is pretty young compared to many other ones. But there is another star. This solar system also has another star, a trinary star, and that's connected in the Cygnus. And people don't realize this, but the Earth is directly connected to Cygnus, and it's a big connection. So Cygnus right now is pumping out the 9 waves of energy due to the fact that the world, your planet, whatever you want to call it, some people with a flat Earth, and it's funny because some of them are actually onto something. They just don't realize what they're onto. But I'm not going to get fully into that. But all you have to do is study the Norse mythology about flat Earth, and instead of thinking that the Earth is flat, spin it upside down, and then you have what's called the underworld. But that's a whole other story, right? And anyway, so the sun is trying to act as strong as possible, obviously it's trying to do that sunspot that's going on with it right now, and it's trying to pump out some energy. But the more energy it pumps out, the more energy that's being siphoned away, if you will. It's being taken from the sun. That's why today, if people take some time to look, not look directly at the sun, obviously, but filter the sun out a little bit and look at the color, it's not the same bright orange color that it used to be. It's turning kind of a whitish color. So that's energetic exchange going on there. So anyway, in the video that we were in the first video I talked about 8 areas to watch for the ripple date of April 9th, 2019, and I'll go through those a little bit in a moment. So just give me a second here. All right, so this is a review before I move on to the other 2 ripple dates. This is April 9th, 2019. This is a review. I'll do it now. And obviously I gave out information about solar minimum, Cygnus, cosmic rays, high energy particles, and nemesis, the binary star connected to your current sol, or the sun, sol. And obviously we gave out the 8 areas, which was space weather, jet stream, ring of fire, earthquakes, volcanoes, sea creatures, civil unrest, and economies. The big thing that happened there was a mystery moment in time. The observable universe is missing antimatter, and that was posted April 8th. So, and this is something that people should start to take a little bit of notice of, because as most people know, they grew up with 9 planets, and Pluto was a planet, and they were pretty sure about that ever since 1930. But people may not know the story of Pluto. The only reason Pluto was found was because Percival Lowell was looking into the deep perturbations in Uranus and Neptune, and they were only found because of perturbations that he was trying to figure out about them. And of course, Pluto can't be big enough, for the mass of Pluto can't perturb those giants, Neptune and Uranus, right? So now, of course, you have 2006, Pluto gets downgraded to a dwarf planet by an individual called Mike Brown at Caltech. And then 10 years later, he and a couple of his colleagues then started to produce scientific white papers of a planet 9, which is actually planet X. Because if you keep Pluto as a planet, this planet 9 is planet X. So strange stuff now coming out. Anyway, this is a bit out there, but this also has to do with space weather. Changes in the neural cortexes. Pew Dipoi reveals that he went with D-Live over YouTube on April 9, 2019. Most people don't think that's a big story, but it is, because he's one of the #1 people through the Google platform. So anyway, the jet stream. This is what can happen when the climates begin to shift due to the jet stream. Mysterious infections span the globe, and a climate of secrecy. April 6th, 2019. So crazy viruses, disease can begin to happen when the jet stream is altered. It doesn't even have to be altered that much, just enough. Crops get impacted. A lot of things can happen. Storms, changes and so on. So Ring of Fire, there was a couple of things that happened, but nothing that really stood out. Obviously, there was a big earthquake on April 9th. That did happen. But you can look that up for yourself. April 9th, 2019 earthquake. It was a big one. Also had a tsunami with it. So anyway, I'll let you check that out for yourself. A couple of volcanoes acting a bit weird. I'm not going to speak too much on that right now. So sea creatures, yeah, I'm not going to speak too much on that. I'll talk about some of the civil unrest, right? It's time for the change. Twitter, F-Book, Google, and Troop with election meddling and racketeering as big tech purge of conservatives continues ahead of 2020 election. So this is very important that the great American patriots and people of America unite together. Over 65 million people there is now that are standing to keep America strong. So unite, arise, band together, and do not yield to the fabricated system. Economies, this is very important to watch because this is all happening just before the whole Mueller report came out. So things leading up to that report coming out on April 18th is big as well, right? There's a couple of weeks before it, but it's very important. Another thing to keep an eye on will be North Korea. The agents there. So anyway, Saudi Arabia threatens to cause US dollar to collapse, right? So need to keep an eye on that. I mean, technically, you could say that's a threat of war, right? That's a war threat. Saudi Arabia trying to collapse the US dollar, that's a threat of war. Because if you collapse the US dollar overnight, the US goes from a first world country to a third world country. That's how swiftly that could happen. So that should be viewed as a threat of war, anything to do with the US dollar. So Russia dumps US dollars and buys gold as safety metal Tuesday, April 9th, 2019. So this occurred right on the Ripple day that Russia dumps the US dollar. And again, you had that the day before, and then you had Russia on the next day. So these are all big changes and moves that are going on around the globe that most people are maybe not fully aware of, but they need to be kind of keeping an eye on what other countries are doing, especially when it comes to the US dollar and gold. Very important. So very important. And of course, you had the whole Brexit joke. It's basically a joke. I mean, I don't know if the British people haven't figured this out yet, but they'll probably never leave the EU. And something did happen on March 29th, 2019. This is where it gets very strange about all this. The UK left the EU, but rejoined it into a different block. And all this stuff will be explained as things flow out through the ripples and the waves. And you'll see why Cameron went away and she came in. Merkel buddy, the buddy of Merkel. And why she was brought in to do what they're doing and play the big games and panic the British people, like, oh my God, no deal, this, bleh. all a big joke. Anyway, and actually, before I do this, let me show you something. So this here was one of the drawings I did for this ripple. I did this on I did this live on April 6th, 2019, and as you can see, I said some of these things will be connected with this ripple. You had the euro block, so BLOC had to do with obviously the European Union, the block of the European Union extending the whole Brexit thing, right? And you also had the earthquake that happened on April 9th, so that was one of them. What else did I put up there? Yeah, that the euro would be something crazy. There you go. So right down there, the block euro, something crazy would happen. The 10th and the 9th, 10th, and 11th to do with that. So, so that the word euro and block kept coming up for this ripple. So it looked like it was a big thing. See, like crazy stuff going on. Like anyway, yeah, block. Yeah, ballot box. That's right. I remember now. So something to do with the ballot box and craziness. So anyway, some people be happy, some people be sad. You know, deal, no deal, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, let me move on here to the next ripples. Give out some information about that. Okay, so next ripple days will be April 20th and the 28th. I'm not going to go too much into the 20th. That did stretch back to the 18th, but I didn't want to give out too much information before it happened. And anyway, same areas that you're kind of watching for: space weather, jet stream. Space weather falls right in between the window anyway, with the whole sprite thing. Ring of fire, earthquakes, volcanoes, sea creatures, civil unrest, and economies. So, what do we have here? Let's see. So, See where this thing is. So you have the 420 ripple, right? This one had a span of around like the 19th, 20th, and into the 21st. Yeah. So those 3 days there, went nigh on the 22nd, right? The next one, the 428. Let's see. Connected here. 26th, 27th, 29th, 30th. What would be the span for this window? So an event connected to the northeast in the Pacific. Keep an eye on. Yeah. Also keep an eye on this is see. Like Washington or something. What's this? Something moving quickly. Yeah. And something to do with some type of craft. over an island or something weird. Yeah. Yeah, keep an eye on that. Yeah. And something to do with people gathered around or something. Around, like, what is this? Some people gathered around, like a fountain, like a fountain, is it? Like a fountain. Water or something to do with, like levers or something. Sevens. Anyway, keep an eye on that as well. Also something to do with a cliff, water, and it's like something like creatures walking up and then falling off or something. Like they're each taking their turn or something. What is that? Something like they're all lined up behind each other, and then they just plop off into the ocean, but don't make it or something. Like they're, yeah, I think that has to do with the, magnetite changing their minds. Yeah. Anyway, obviously, and something to do with, let's see, with a boat of some sort, possibly something happens anyway. Yeah. That's a weird thing, though. Like a wave or people tossed about or something like that. The boat is moved swiftly on the waves or something weird happens. Yeah. Again, this is all connected to the ripple number 12, which is April 28th, 2019. That's a weird one. Yeah, I think that's good for now. I talked about this before, how solar minimum, the crazy tilt of the planet, Nemesis, and Cygnus. So anyway, I think that's it for now. I think that's good enough. So just keep an eye on the 8 areas. Relook at this video again to see some of the drawings I did there. Some of the stuff came very quick there, as I just start looking forward at the date. And then as it comes and goes, as 20 comes and goes, 28 comes and goes, maybe by then I'll have the member stuff up and running, and you'll be able to get see more and more of this stuff possibly live inside the member section. I may still do some public videos But when I have the members option up and running the way I want it, encrypted and all that kind of stuff, then it'll be different. And yeah, anyway, yeah, that's it for now.